Have you ever wondered what would happen if a smartphone and a high-end camera had a love child? Well, meet the Sony Xperia 1.5, the cutest phone in town, but does it live up to its camera-centric hype? Let's dive into the depths of this captivating device to find out. But before that, let's shift our focus to the first impressions it makes with its design and display. Design and display. Design and display are two critical aspects of any smartphone, and the Sony Xperia 1.5 doesn't disappoint in this department. While Sony's design language may not have caught on like wildfire, there's something to be said about consistency. The familiar super tall 21:9 aspect ratio and camera bump location remain intact from previous models, giving the Xperia 1.5 a distinct identity. The new textured feel of the matte glass adds a touch of uniqueness, making the phone grippy and durable. Speaking of uniqueness, let's talk about the green hue and textured back. It's subtle yet captivating, transforming the device into a head-turner. Coupled with the squared-off edges, this phone not only looks stylish, but also feels solid in the hand. It's like holding a piece of modern art that's built to withstand the daily grind. Moving on to the display, Sony opted for a 6.5-inch panel with its signature 4K resolution. While it may not boast the flashy saturation of some competitors, the display is undeniably pleasant to look at. However, let's address the elephant in the room: the ultra-tall aspect ratio and bezels. In a world dominated by hole-punch cameras and curved screens, the Xperia 1.5 may appear a tad outdated. Yet, the slim bezels blend into the background, offering a compromise in exchange for front-facing stereo speakers and an uninterrupted viewing experience. The size upgrade from its predecessor, the Xperia 5.4, is a welcome change. It strikes a balance between comfort and usability, although reaching the top elements can be a stretch. Unfortunately, the narrow feel makes landscape activities less enjoyable, wasting valuable screen real estate without reaping many benefits. Now, let's address the 4K resolution. While impressive, it falls into the realm of overkill. At this price point, it's more of a flashy feature than a practical necessity. Anyway, let's dig further into the hardware of the device and see what it brings to the table. Hardware. Unfortunately, the fingerprint sensor embedded in the power button is a letdown, especially considering the hefty price tag. It took multiple attempts to register my thumbprint, and even then, I still faced a frustrating number of unlock failures. Sony needs to step up its game and either find a sensor that actually works or relocate it to a more reliable spot. Moving on, the haptics on this phone fall into the good, not great category. They lack the finesse and precision that Google and Samsung offer, making me quickly disable keyboard haptics. However, one area where the Xperia 1.5 shines is its dual front-facing speakers. Surprisingly well-balanced, these speakers deliver a solid audio experience for podcasts, YouTube videos, and even the occasional movie. But let's be real, if you really want to amp up your music, plug in some real speakers using the trusty 3.5mm headphone jack. Kudos to Sony for retaining the headphone jack and their clever approach to the SIM tray. It's not only a micro SD card slot, but also removable without the need for a SIM tool. As someone who frequently switches phones, this convenience is a welcome feature. The Xperia 1.5 boasts both IP65 and IP68 ratings for dust and water resistance, providing some peace of mind. While Sony couldn't explain the reason for the dual ratings, rest assured that this phone can handle dust and even survive an accidental plunge into the pool. Now, here's something peculiar. The flash on this phone is primarily designed for nighttime photography, leaving you in the dark when it comes to using it as a flashlight. If you rely on your phone's LED to find your keys in a pitch-black room, you'll need to carry an extra accessory because this flash won't do the trick. Anyway, let's dive into the software and performance of the Sony Xperia 1.5 and see if it can deliver a smooth and intuitive user experience. Despite an upgrade to Android 13, Sony's software build feels eerily familiar, almost like deja vu from the Xperia 5.4. Similar to Motorola, Sony takes a more minimalist approach, steering clear of the heavy-handed touches of OnePlus or Samsung. But here's the puzzling part. What exactly sets Sony apart from the competition? Some of the customizations left us scratching our heads. Why is the no notifications text all in caps? Why did the pixel-like search bar shrink when we changed the home screen grid? And what's the deal with the persistent option to switch display modes in the quick settings menu? Are Sony users constantly toggling between standard and creative display modes? And let's not forget the perplexing existence of SideSense when activating multitasking is faster in the recent apps menu. In terms of system behavior, we encountered a fair share of bugs. On multiple occasions, both the navigation bar and status bar vanished, leaving us with the frozen app until we resorted to the old display on and off trick. And while casually scrolling through Twitter, yes, we're all guilty, we discovered that tapping the lower left corner triggered the back gesture, causing some frustration with bottom navigation in certain apps. Sony bundles its own creation-focused tools as pre-installed apps, including Photo Pro, Video Pro, and Cinema Pro for capturing stunning photos and videos. It would be great if they bundled these apps together for easier access. Music Pro returns as well, providing users with the mobile recording suite, while external monitor is tailored for Sony's alpha cameras. However, the presence of a 3-month title trial as the only real bloatware on a $1,400 phone is hard to justify. When it comes to performance, the Xperia 1.5 holds its ground with other Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 powered phones. We did notice the phone getting unusually warm during web browsing, but given the unusually warm weather that day, it didn't raise too much concern for everyday use. Just like the OnePlus 11, Sony's smartphone can handle anything you throw at it. Now here's the bitter truth. While Samsung, Google, OnePlus, and even Motorola have committed to a minimum of 3 OS upgrades for their smartphones, Sony is yet to follow suit. For a phone that costs $1,400, this is becoming harder to swallow, especially since carrier deals aren't available to help offset the cost. Alright, let's focus our lens on the camera capabilities of the Sony Xperia 1.5. Camera. If reviewing this smartphone is like reviewing a camera, we have to be real with you. There's some disappointing news. Don't get us wrong, the Xperia 1.5 is fully capable of capturing excellent shots. But here's the catch. You'll need a pretty formal knowledge of how actual cameras work because shooting in manual mode is almost a requirement here. Finally, Sony has started leaning into... By default, the camera app sticks to basic mode unless you dig deep into the settings menu to switch it up. The idea behind basic mode is to appeal to a wide range of users, offering a familiar UI similar to other smartphones. However, it's still filled with more icons than most rookies would know what to do with, and auto mode isn't any less confusing. Now, let's dive into the hardware. The Xperia 1.5 packs 3 lenses, a 48-megapixel f/1.9, 1x1.35-inch lens, a 12-megapixel f/2.3 telephoto lens with an optical zoom range between 3.5 times and 5.2 times, and a 12-megapixel f/2.2 ultra-wide sensor. It's an impressive lineup, especially if you're willing to get your hands dirty with Sony's manual modes. Program Auto puts everything but shutter speed in your hands. Shutter speed priority is perfect for capturing moving subjects, and manual exposure allows you to play with motion blur. Now for the good news. When in basic or auto mode, the Xperia 1.5 captures markedly better photos than its predecessor, the Xperia 5.4. Regardless of which lens you're using, everything looks vibrant without that eye-searing saturation found on some rival phones. It's like having a reliable point-and-shoot device in your pocket, which is what most people, including professional photographers, want from their smartphones. In simple terms, it's a solid camera system, especially when shooting with the primary lens. Low light performance has improved since the Xperia 5.4, thanks in part to that impressive 48-megapixel main sensor that bins down to 12 megapixels. And let's not forget the super cool optical zoom lens, which offers 2 different focal lengths in one package, opening up exciting possibilities for creative shots. Though, we must admit, the stabilization could use some improvement. And here's another bonus. You can shoot in 4K at 120 frames per second across all 3 lenses, something most other brands aren't offering. Your Pixel 7 Pro won't match that. In spite of these impressive camera features, there are some drawbacks to the Sony Xperia 1.5 that need to be addressed. Yes, you heard it right. Now let's talk about the cons of this phone. The Sony Xperia 1.5 unfortunately falls short in a few areas. First off, it lacks an infrared port, so you won't be able to control your TV with it like a magic wand. Bummer, right? And for all you radio lovers out there, it's a letdown that there's no FM radio option. No grooving to your favorite tunes on the airwaves. But that's not all. The phone also doesn't come with a temperature sensor, so you won't be able to impress your friends with your weather forecasting abilities. It's a missed opportunity for sure. And let's not forget that it doesn't offer a custom UI support, so you're stuck with what you get out of the box. Other cons include the absence of 8K video recording, no dynamic refresh rate for the screen, and no camera macro mode for those close-up shots. The night view feature, although touted, falls short of our expectations, resembling more of a low-light HDR effect rather than true night photography magic. Plus, it's worth mentioning that the phone still experiences throttling under heavy loads, mainly GPU throttling, and the video processing of the main camera could use some fine-tuning, especially in low-light conditions. Overall, while the Sony Xperia 1.5 has its strengths, it's important to consider these cons before making a decision. If these missing features and limitations don't bother you, then it might still be a worthy choice. But if you're looking for a phone that ticks all the boxes, you might want to explore alternatives that offer a more comprehensive package. That's all for today. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to our channel for more tech-related videos like this. Thanks for watching.